In we go. We've got a nice map. Lucky me. Put the stuff on cooldown. You know, and as you can see, we're just moving at the absolute speed of light. If you don't want to move this quick, you can obviously just take out some move speed stuff. As you can see, the server actually struggles a little bit to keep up with this.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on YouTube? It's Filthy and we're back with another video. Today we're going to show you the Poison Explosion Demon Hunter. T16's Bounties crushes both of them. Low requirements, subject to finding the correct soul shards, and yeah, lots of fun. Clear speed improved dramatically on just a regular Gears of Dreadlands Demon Hunter. Probably one of the fastest key farm builds in the game. I mean, we're going to obviously test all the different gems and all the different combos that we can, but yeah, this is a lot of fun to play. Super easy, very, very fast. Before we do jump in though, as always guys, a thumbs up is greatly appreciated. Chuck a comment on the video if you can, does help out. We'll do favourite Tom Cruise movie today, I think. Mine is Top Gun. I know it's a guilty pleasure. Probably shouldn't be. Should probably be something better. But yeah, what's your favourite Tom Cruise movie? Hit that up in the comments. Do subscribe if you enjoy Diablo. We've got obviously D3 focus for the next couple of weeks whilst we bash out PTR. And get ready for the next season whenever that might be. Also do cover Diablo 2 Resurrected, and just as soon as I can get my equipment to work, we will be covering Diablo Immortal as well. So all your Diablo stuff, if you're interested in any of it, do hit the subscribe button. Right, this is the PTR, so obviously this is all subject to change. I can't 100% guarantee it's going to go to live like this. If it changes significantly, I will take the video down, we will re-record it. If it changes slightly, just keep an eye on the D3 planner, just keep an eye on the comments section, obviously ignoring the Tom Cruise stuff, but I'll pin something if it changes dramatically. I think what we'll do is we'll go through the soul shards, which are the most important thing. We'll then do a little quick recap on Gears of Dreadlands. We'll talk about all the mobility that we've got in the build, and we'll talk about some options, you know, to just go through it. This is with sheet damage of 860,000, so really low. There are a couple of nice pieces. I was going to use all of my super nice stuff that I've found on PTR, but I know that that pisses people off. So we will do a test with 860 sheet damage and 10k main stat. A couple of nice pieces still. Don't be put off by the augments. They're very easy to get next season, and I've pretty much put a load of other crap on there. But yeah, we'll go through it. Now, the soul shards themselves are quite easy to find. I don't think you can have any difficulties. In the weapon, we've got the essence of Anguish. Now, the most important part of this, absolutely only takeaway from this video, the only thing you take away is you can see at the top of my Yang's recurve, I've re-rolled poison damage. You have to have that, and this is because of the secondary properties, the last two on the gem. So let's go through the full thing. You get plus 277 damage, obviously pretty handy. It's about 8%. Cold skills deal 62% more damage. Gears of Dreadlands Demon Hunter works with cold damage, so that is lovely. Crit damage 135%. Increased damage against elites 25%. Super, we hit them like a truck. 30k life per hit roughly. Thorns damage, we don't care. Now the last two properties, the really kicker ones, and this is basically killing an enemy deals a damage done by the death blow to all enemies within 25 yards. Okay, so basically when you kill something, you get an explosion, a poison explosion, like a poison nova, which is why this is the poison demon hunter, that will go off and will kill everything around it. It makes the clear time very fast because it just blows up these 25-yard areas. Now, the reason I've said it's very important to roll poison damage on Yangs is because of the last property here. Every time you deal poison damage to an enemy, increase your cooldown reduction, move speed, and damage received by 5% for 10 seconds, max 10 stacks. Now, obviously damage received for T16 we don't really care about, but the extra move speed, the extra cooldown reduction, you know, can be handy. Now obviously you're going to have to rank this up to a level 3 Essence of Anguish to get these. You're not always going to get this enemies deal damage within 25-yard poison explosion ones. You are going to have a little look for that. There are other properties that you can't guess on it, but something like this is obviously kind of, you know, what you would want to get really. Now, the other gem, which is going to sound like it doesn't really synergize, but it's fine, is the Sliver of Terror. Now, again, I've put a crap one in here. So the way this works is you will get a random main stat on your gem. So this one has got 1000 vitality, which obviously for a T16 build doesn't do us very much. The best would obviously be 1000 into dexterity, because that would just be a little bit more damage. But again, you'll see that we don't really need it. We get 25% life, we get 14.5% cooldown, 12.5% resource cost reduction, extra gold from monsters, extra experience. So it's kind of like we're getting all the gems in the helm, same as the weapon, we're getting like all the gems. Now, the secondary properties on this is always your cooldowns are increased by 25%. Normally that would be a bad thing, but for every skill on cooldown, we take 12.5% less damage. Again, we don't really care for T16, but it is handy for bounty builds, because obviously a bit of damage reduction is handy for that. And we deal 75% increased damage for each skill on cooldown. Now, actually, as it happens, we're only really going to have 2 on cooldown, Preparation and Vengeance. They're both on quite long ones. Technically, Smokescreen does go on a cooldown, but it bounces back so fast you can't really rely on it. Shadow Power isn't really on a cooldown because you can just spam it infinitely, and then the Generator Hungering Arrow is not on cooldown, and neither is Strafe. So it's kind of like 150% extra damage, but you know, it can sometimes be a little bit more. Again, this is a gem that you have to upgrade to rank 3, so you need to find your embers, these things here, the Hellforge embers, to upgrade them. So it's going to take a bit of time to find 6 of these to unlock. Also, you might not necessarily get the powers that you want, but this is kind of like, you know, an endish game kind of setup. By all means, you could swap this one in the helm. It's not massively important, but the secondary power that we're looking for in this one is just an attack speed increase and crit chance increase for every skill on cooldown. Again, it's only 2, so it's about 14% extra crit and 14% extra attack speed. Again, not massively important. There are other powers you can do. There's a fire explosion one, which doesn't really seem to make much difference, just simply because of the way the poison mechanic works on the Essence of Anguish. But you know, you don't need to sweat it, basically. I'd say the weapon gem for this particular T16 build is probably the most important. Now, Gears of Dreadlands, obviously you're going to do a 6-piece one. We don't need a rogue. You can take one if you want to, but the full 6 pieces seems to work fine. So the crash course on Gears of Dreadlands, always you build up your momentum stacks by firing off Hungering Arrow. This gives you damage reduction, it gives you damage, it gives you insane move speed, and yeah, the 6-piece with just an absolute boatload of damage. Then when you strafe around, when you hit enemies, it will fire out your last your last generator, which is the Hungering Arrow. So you kind of, every so often, just need to click left click to keep your momentum stacks up for move speed. And for damage. I mean, obviously you can read all these bonuses if you want, but that's in a nutshell. Left click a bunch of times and then top it up every now and then whilst holding down strafe. Now, for the damage, a Hunter's Wrath belt is a good one to get in a cube. Primary attacks attack faster and deal up to 200% damage. Whilst you're looking for this, if you can't find one, because it is a little bit of a tricky one to get, you can go for Depth Digger Trousers, which is here, so that is an extra damage. Normally speaking, you would look to include this in a T16 build, but I don't really think that you do. I mean, you could do Rogue instead of Stone of Jordan and Depth Diggers, but I kind of like keeping this open. We will go through why in a little bit. Dawn will basically knock the cooldown on Vengeance. Again, you don't necessarily need it because of the way all these mechanics work, but it just seems to probably still be the best slot. And Siri Satchel is pretty important as well. So Hungering Arrow, guaranteed to pierce and extra damage up to 600%. Again, this looks like a nice one because it's ancient. It's got an augment on it. Bear in mind, there is no damage roll on a satchel, so a non-ancient one is absolutely fine. It's not going to make much difference. I've got no crit on here, so crit and Hungering Arrow would obviously be your preference. Just make sure the modifier is high, so a non-ancient one near 600% would probably even be better than this ancient one. We've got a Squirts Necklace for double damage when we don't take anything. Now, realistically, you either need a shield mechanic to keep this up, which we don't have because I haven't put a shielding legendary gem in, or you need a shield pylon. Again, because we've got infinite toughness with the gold wrap and the Boon of the Hoarder legendary gem, you know, it's just a little bit of extra damage. So by all means, you know, something else can go here, but it defaults with Gold Find, which is kind of handy for T16. Other damage wise, we do have the Stone of Jordan, providing a little bit more punch on elites so that we can one-shot all of them, crit damage and a bit of cold skill damage. As I say, tough call. You could do the Rogue and muck about with putting on Depth Digger Pants, but keeping it this for the ring, it means you can swap the ring out pretty easily. That could be okay, because if you could get a larceny ring on your character, that would be handy for a little bit of chance to fear on the secondary. Now the rest of it is all move speed, so I guess we may as well start with the larceny ring. Basically, when you hit, you have a chance to fear. When you fear, you get a huge move speed up to 60%, and it lasts for 4 seconds. Now, we're actually going to pair this with the Pandemonium loop. This has got a really nice secondary fear chance of like 11.2%. You can only get this from Bounties. I forget which act. Someone in the comments will let me know. It's either Act 3 or Act 4. And I think Act 5 is open, but you're going to have to do some bounties to get it. But what this will do is when an enemy is feared and it dies, it will explode, and then it will cause other enemies to flee in fear. Sounds like it might be annoying because everything's fleeing, but don't worry, with the poison explosion mechanic, you'll see that everything will blow up. But what it does, it allows you to chain fears together, and that will keep your larceny bonus up for the whole way. Now, I've obviously got mine in the cube for the maximum move speed, and the Stone of Jordan, I just think potentially makes it a little easier on the elements, because you might find a really nice fire squirts, a fire Wazishan arm guards, and that is just a little bit easier to go through. But obviously, with us getting cold damage on the Essence of Anguish, cold is definitely going to be the preferred way. There is another secondary power on this Sliver of Terror, by the way, which works with fire and lightning when you get 3 skills on cooldown. So that is something you could look into with the Stone of Jordan, but I just think probably cold is the simplest way. Now, this could well be a free ring slot. Again, as you're going through, as you're looking to build this, you could take yourself a Convention of Elements. You can take yourself an elusive ring for bounties, which obviously is another 60% damage reduction. You probably also would be taking off your gold wrap for bounties and looking to put in the depth diggers, so Hunter's Wrath on the character. And that would probably be about the only things. I did play a little round with the Zodiac just to get stuff back faster. Didn't really seem to make much difference. So ultimately, there's not a huge amount of options in terms of what to go for. You could do Kimbos, maybe for a little bit more gold, so get that on the character, get a Squirts in the cube somehow. In terms of rolls, as you can see, I've just pretty much put the absolute basic worst crappy gear on. Make sure you get Hungering Arrow damage on your trousers, make sure you get Hungering Arrow damage on your belt, make sure you get a little bit of cooldown, crit area damage, all those kinds of stuff. But as you can see, this is fairly basic stuff, other than the Yangs, which is nice. You don't care about the multi-shot damage on this. The only reason we're taking this is simply for the resource cost reduction, just to make sure that we've got infinite hatred and discipline. So again, by all means, you could do Dawn, you could do Fortress Ballista for dual wielding crossbows, you could do the Series Satchel and the cube. That would give you the maximum multiplier. It would give you the shield from the Fortress Ballista to keep up squirts. So, you know, plenty of options here, which is what we like. Arm guards, I don't think we've covered. Whenever we destroy a wreckable object, we get a burst of speed. Again, more move speed, which is nice. A Wreath of Lightning, again, a 25% move speed increase that procs fairly frequently. If you need more damage, you can sub this out. You can take a Bane of the Trapped, or a Powerful, or a Taeguk, any of those, whichever you fancy. Again, might be another option for bounties. You might just need a little bit more punch for those. The Simplicity Strength here, rank 32, pretty rubbish, but it does give us some extra damage on primary skills, gives us a heal, which again, you know, theoretically would be okay for bounties. But yeah, you know, I mean, you're gonna have that gem ranked up to like 100, 120 pretty comfortably. So lots of ways to get more damage in. I do like a little bit of extra discipline on as a secondary on the satchel, but gold find is pretty nice, just that you can power your rifts if you want to do that. The need for that is obviously less next season with the way the soul shards and the embers are going to work for augments, because a rank 3 soul shard is going to be 125 level augment, which is pretty sick. Right, I think that probably covers everything. The follower, incidentally, the broken crown does not work with a soul shard. So if you put a broken crown on your follower, nothing happens, unfortunately. So you would have to take that off if you wanted extra gems. You'd have to take this gem out and just stick in either a cooldown gem, a green gem for some gold, up to you. So other than that, you want your cane set for T16, which is obviously going to give you your extra keys, which is pretty cool. Avarice band will emanate, which gives us huge pickup radius. If you're doing bounties, again, you might want to just simply sub off your Stone of Jordan for an avarice band if you want to collect up a bit of gold. So again, another pretty easy swap. Always flavor of time on the follower. Again, it emanates, makes those pylons last twice as long. And then we've got the Nemesis braces, so whenever we click a shrine or pylon, we basically get the elite, which is obviously very handy. And token of invulnerability. And we've also got the homing pads for uninterrupted teleports. And long term, obviously, I've only done a few sets of bounties on the PTR. Gloves of worship would be kind of cool here, because again, they emanate and you just get the shrines lasting longer, which is pretty good. Weapon wise, again, obviously if you can find something to boost the strength up a little bit, it does improve the follower, but for T16 you don't really need it. So again, in the season I probably would flash all of this out. I've just been a little bit lazy because it is PTR. Right, let's have a little look at the skills. Strafe, Drifting Shadow. Obviously, sometimes D3 Planner is down in the opening first few days, so by all means, you can have a little look at this. Again, a lot of it is fairly flexible, but Drifting Shadow allows you to move at 100% move speed, which is why we take that one. Hungering Arrow, Devouring Arrow is just the most damaging one, which is why we go for that. Invig, Preparation. This is basically like a discipline potion button. So let's say you get over trigger happy with your shadow power, you can just pop this for some extra discipline, and obviously it being on cooldown is a good thing because it's more damage and all that kind of stuff. Invig I just like because it gives you the extra 20 at the start. You can go for Focus Mind, which gives you discipline over time, so by all means play around with that. Vengeance is giving us extra damage, and then the Dark Art Rune gives us 50% damage reduction. Not necessary for the T16 because we do obviously get all that immortality, but we don't need any of the other runes, and for bounties, Dark Art is going to be kind of handy. Smokescreen, displacement 100% move speed, so we can pop this every 1.5 seconds, minus cooldown. It just makes us move super fast, so very, very nice. Again, if it is on cooldown, it is feeding into the soul shards, which is nice. Then Shadow Power, Shadow Glide, basically just here for move speed. So again, 30% whilst it's up. Unfortunately, it doesn't go on cooldown, but it is what it is. Passives wise, Tactical Advantage, 60% move speed for 2 seconds after we pop either of Smokescreen or Shadow Power. Hot Pursuit, bit more move speed whenever we damage an enemy. Ambush, 40% additional damage to enemies above 75% health. Kind of handy because it allows us to one-shot everything, and then that chains our poison explosions into things. And then Perfectionist I've got on just simply for a little bit of extra discipline. Again, kind of handy possibly for bounties. I think Awareness is probably a solid shout. If you don't want to lose your pools of reflection, that is the safer option. The extra discipline's not huge, so that's probably the better choice, but I do kind of swap between them. But by all means, the passives wise, you can change a lot of this stuff, but we're just looking for, what we're trying to do here, one-shot capability, and we're also looking for clear speed. Now, in terms of the Paragon, I've left in move speed, I've left in pickup radius, the rest of it I've taken out, again, just with a view to showing this off at its absolute crappiest. you know, you'll be able to get sheet damage like 3 or 4 times higher than this. You know, you'll find yourself some decent stuff, and yeah, you'll see. So we open up the rift. Let's hope we get a nice map and charge our momentum stacks up. In we go. We've got a nice map. Lucky me. Put the stuff on cooldown. You know, and as you can see, we're just moving at the absolute speed of light. If you don't want to move this quick, you can obviously just take out some move speed stuff. As you can see, the server actually struggles a little bit to keep up with this, which is just funny. But the poison is just going around detonating everything, so, you know, stuff is just literally blowing up. So if that map had been a little better, see, like all that stuff that blew up with poison, if that map had been a little bigger, then obviously we would have been able to probably clear the floor in like 60 seconds, maybe something like that. Now, I'm not picking anything up, guys. It's PTR. There's no point. We've got infinite mats, infinite everything, so there's no point. We'll all gobble up the gems, though. They're hard to get on PTR. But yeah, this is it, completely brainless. It just wipes the screen for you. Super fast. Bounties are going to be ridiculously fun with this. Very easy. You just obviously need to manage your toughness a little bit. So all those gems could be a shout for bounties. You know, you can put on companion, a bit more toughness. But yeah, pretty fast, as we can see. So what do you reckon, guys? Is it a winner? Do we like it? You know, and it's like this obviously for any kind of half decent map, even crap maps. It's absolutely fine. You know, provided you're not over spamming shadow power, you're absolutely golden. But yeah, that's it. That is, you know, this is probably what I will start off building my keys and bounties with. But you know, we've got a lot of other things to test, so we'll have to sort of see. But yeah, a lot of fun. I mean, you know, obviously, realistically, you're going to have a load of Paragon by the time you find these legendary gems up to rank 3. But I just thought we'll balance out the, you know, the double crit, a couple of augments and stuff like that. But 800k sheet damage at the start, I think that's pretty decent. Always Gears of Dreadland is S tier with the legendary gems. It's, I don't know, SS plus maybe, something like that. Cool. Right. Well, I'm going to be off to watch Top Gun and probably make some more build video guides. I hope you're all staying safe. I'll see you for some more content just as soon as I can. Take it easy. Peace.